Welcome everyone to the second episode of PBJenesis, the battle for peanut butter and jelly. My name is Adam Kahmann from Kahmann Gaming, Games for Good. In the previous episode we had Tanuki Toad versus JB, and JB came out to the victor. In this episode, I will introduce the next two contestants. First we have Zuffle, the stud we all know and love, and a pretty good battle for peanut butter and jelly player. One time while testing the game, he was even able to beat me, the creator, once in battle. Fun facts of him: he prefers jelly over peanut butter, his favorite video game is Elite Dangerous, and his dream vacation is to go to Japan. Our second contestant is Hyrulian22. As her name suggests, she is a Legend of Zelda fan. She has also been enjoying Pokemon Go lately. Fun facts of her are, she prefers peanut butter over jelly, her favorite video game, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, my personal favorite as well, or Skyward Sword. Her dream vacation is to go on a Caribbean cruise or a private beach home on a secluded Caribbean island. Now that the contestants have been introduced, let's not waste any more time and get started with this battle for peanut butter and jelly. And it looks like we're getting started, everyone. They have selected their stage: Team Peanut Butter versus Team Jelly. And we have started, everyone. On the left, with Team Peanut Butter, we have the zesty and zany Zuffle. And on the right, with Team Jelly, we have no other than the heroic and honorable Hyrulian22. And looks like they both are just started building up their banks. Good strategy. It's always good to start with banks. I don't know if any of you out there have played StarCraft, but typically the first thing you want to do in StarCraft is build a bunch of gatherers to gather the minerals and gas for you. It's kind of what you do in this game, is build a bunch of banks. Unless if you want to have a Zerg Rush. And speaking of Zerg Rushes, Hyrulian22 has the gnome selected, and she has built her gnomes to blow up his base. The big hole, build a cannon up there, and she built a portal. Oh, she got hit, but oh boy, what is going to happen? Zuffle is not reacting. Hello, there's someone at your front door, Zuffle. I don't know if you realize, but there's a big gaping hole in there. You have no defenses. It's going to destroy her. She's destroying his banks. Holy cow, guys. I did not imagine the match to start this fast. And oh boy. Is Zuffle going to... He's getting hit. Every hit just gives another $1,000 to Hyrulian22. Is Zuffle going to recover? He's built a gas cannon, which can be a good option. They're good against the splares. But oh boy, this every corner Hyrulian22 is merciless. She is meaning business. It looks like he's building some cannons of his own to threaten her. It's a rush race. However, I don't know, those gnomes are so good at breaking that toast. If your opponent has a bunch of toast and nothing else, just run up to them, build a gnome. And that's another reason why you gotta be so careful early game, just to watch the map. Make sure, hey, if a captain's coming near you, you gotta go over there, face them, build some flies to take them down before they build a gnome right in front of your base. You gotta defend your base well, keep the captain at bay, because if you have no cannons, what's going to stop your opponent from walking up in the front of your base and building a gnome? This is a perfect example, guys. This is pretty crazy. Oh boy, Zuffle, he lost a lot of his banks, guys. I don't know if he's going to recover. He's building more banks, which is good. He's got to keep the banks up, and she's building more banks too, which is good, but I think she should really seize this moment instead of taking a break. But we still got a bunch of Hyrulian22's cannons in the top left of the screen. As you can see those purple dots there. Now he's building bread. Now this is important because gnomes are terrible at breaking bread. So it takes one gnome to blow up a bunch of toast, but takes 3 gnomes to take out bread. And that is one of the benefits of using bread over toast. They're weaker overall, and they die instantly from splares, and they're cheap. But the thing is, they're really good against the higher units of the game. So they're good against the gnomes and the gas cannon. So you gotta like know when to build them and when not to build them. Typically, it's best to build toast, but hey, if your opponent's really happy building gnomes like Hyrulian22 is, you want to build the gnome. Then you see that hardly did any damage to that bread, and that's important because bread is so cheap to build, while gnomes cost a whopping $5,000. So it's definitely not worth the money investment to get those gnomes. And looks like Zuffle's getting more banks. And whoa, what is that army that Hyrulian22 has? I think those are flies? I don't know. And oh yeah, speaking of which, this stage is called the Warring Wasteland. Probably a fan favorite from most people. It's much more vertical than the King's Kitchen and the Victorious Void. But as you see, there's a sandstorm in the middle, and it's hard to see what's going on in there, especially on the map. So you can go in there and hide from your opponent, maybe build a huge army, and from looking at the map, there's no way to check. And holy cow, those gnomes are he's just hanging by a thread. He's building that bread, but see, those splares instant kill those bread. I guess you can't really kill bread, but so I guess they instantly burn up the bread because they're not toasted. Oh boy, this is a stressful match for sure. I'm surprised Zuffle's still hanging on there. He does have a lot of banks in the top right, so that does definitely help. And he's just building bread just because he knows that Hyrulian22 loves building those gnomes. See, what Hyrulian22 really should do at this moment is build a bunch of splares, because those splares will take out that bread. It's a good strategy. Like, attack your opponent with gnomes, get them to build bread, and then just build a bunch of splares, and then if you're able to destroy their banks, you can win pretty fast. It's one reason why you really gotta watch the map carefully. And oh boy, see, now Zuffle has a lot of money. He just built a bunch of splares in retaliation, and he went down, but they both have a lot of money, to be fair. But see, those gnomes aren't going to do that much damage to the bread. It's not a good money trade. It's only $100 for a piece of bread, but $5,000 for a gnome. It's best to build something else. Now that's going to work. Against the toast, it's good because you can build a hole in defense, and then once you get that hole, the best thing to do is just build a bunch of splares so they can get in and destroy the banks and all those valuable resources that the opponent has. Or flies can work too. Flies are a little squishy, but oh boy. Dang, Zuffle is hanging on. And see, he's got the top right of it very well secured. However, all it would take is a bunch of splares to walk through there and just take him out. So if she just built a bunch of splares in the top right, she would have this game. And holy cow, it looks like there's a bunch of splares in her base, and that is one thing. She was so aggressive, but look at her defenses. Nothing has changed. And see, sometimes, now this is a kind of a glitch I want to fix. Not really a glitch, but sometimes the splares can push other splares past the toast, which is something I really don't want in the game. I really want the toast to actually stop the splares, but that's what we'll see what's happening here, that the splares walked over the toast slightly. It still takes a lot of splares to do it. It's not a huge issue, but something I prefer to fix in the future. Dang, oh, she was so close to the jar. Oh boy, all she needs to do is just build some splares up there. And look, she found a vulnerability in his wall. She walked right past it, and oh boy, and she's building some splares. That's a good option. Build those splares, and there you go. Oh, Now she's got to watch out for... Oh, there's a bunch of splares just coming to her base. The best counter to that is... You could build a gnome to blow up all those guys. You could build gas cannons. Or you just can build more splares. Like one of the best counters against splares is just building more splares. Having flyers could be helpful for Hyrulian22. However, he is building a lot of splares, so you gotta back those up with splares of your own. See, she really needs to get those splares out of business, and he's just... Zuffle's taking his advantage to rebuild banks, and he has to have like over twice as many banks as Hyrulian22, which is not good for Hyrulian22. The more banks you have, the bigger army you have. So remember, when you play the battle for peanut butter and jelly, you want to make sure you have the most banks, and you can protect those banks. If you don't have the most banks, then you have to be really smart on how you play, and make sure you counter everything that your opponent's building, because typically the person with the most banks wins. And the best way to have the most banks is to have land control, or area control, which Hyrulian22 was very good at that at the beginning of this game, but now as you look at it, Zuffle has the top of the screen. He has not gotten into the sandstorm yet, but he has way more buildings than Hyrulian22, because Hyrulian22, she just was building gnomes, which was working so well in the beginning, but if she would have capitalized on it a bit more and built a lot of splares to counter those pieces of bread, she totally could have won this. But now it's probably looking towards Zuffle's favor. It could still be anyone's game, but probably towards Zuffle's favor because he does have way more banks and he has so many hives and portals. Holy cow. That is scary because... And so many gas cannons, she just won't be able to get near his base anymore. Yeah, those... See, the thing about the hives and the portals is that he just builds one portal every 15 or 16, 18 seconds, I can't remember. It's gonna build a splayer for him. So instead of spending like a bunch of money on building splares repeatedly, you can just build one portal and it will constantly make it for you without spending money again. And same thing with hives. So like, if you can protect hives and portals, that's better. And looks like she's getting a dent in his defenses a bit, but she still has a lot to go. And as you can see, you can remove their buildings. The remove button, so you can remove them or raise their buildings, and you get 75%, I believe, money back. Either that or 50%. And I mean, who am I, the game developer? I don't need to know all these things. I just don't remember. It's hard to remember everything. But yeah, you can remove your buildings if you're out of space. Like for example, those pieces of bread aren't really doing anything anymore. So might as well replace them with hives, portals, or banks. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. See, if you look at the map, there's just a bunch of troops. Zuffle coming over, and there's very little Hyrulian22 can do. She can build. Oh, those. She built too many gnomes. Gnomes can backfire. They can technically be counters against squares, but never build gnomes when it's by your base. Yes, it's just... Oh, yeah, it's over. Team Peanut Butter wins! Zuffle is victorious in the first match, 2 out of 3. And look at that, guys. No paying attention to total playtime. I don't know if you noticed in the last matches, but that is not working. It's supposed to tell you how long the match is playing. But if you look at this, Zuffle built 234 banks. Well, Hyrulian22 only had 72. And you can tell by the money and then the splares produced. And he actually lost less troops. Holy cow. And he didn't build a single gnome, and she built 45. Gnomes are good, but there's a high skill level in. Now, Hyrulian22 will pick the match. Looks like she's looking at the Warring Wasteland. Yes, the war in Wasteland will either make it difficult to detect enemies or easier to build up a large army without them noticing. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. And Team Peanut Butter versus Team Jelly. And here we go. And looks like Hyrulian22 is not wasting any time building banks. She is just going to build bread. She's claiming the middle. That could be a viable strategy. But those flies got her. See, flies are very good at hunting down the... Oh, there we go. We got gnomes again, the Cannon Rush. That is her preferred strategy. See, if she can capitalize this, she can definitely win. So there's definitely a chance for Hyrulian22. If she can just do the same thing she did last time. But Zuffle is way more of a build-up player. That seems to fit his playstyle. He doesn't notice in the last match, he didn't really go up too much in the opponent's face. He was staying in his own bases, building up slowly. So he's really good at building up, but sometimes it's good to get in your opponent's face. That's one thing I really wanted to do in this game for the Battle for Peanut Butter and Jelly, is that I wanted to be more of this build-up game, which it definitely is, but I also want to make it that, like, you can reward the player who would be good at moving their captain and dodging bullets, and you can get up in their face and build stuff. It adds a whole other dynamic to the game that you don't really see too much. Like in StarCraft, for example, you use the mouse cursor, the mouse, to click on things and build stuff and just tell your troops to go certain places. In this game, there is no mouse, it's just the captain. So there's a lot of different things you can do with that. And she is just being aggressive again. Will she be able to stay on top of this? That is the question. And she really wants to build that gnome. Again, she's got it on the cursor set and she's gonna build it. Yep. And what she should do now is build some splayers. Yes, build splayers. She doesn't have enough money because since she rushed, she has hardly any banks out. If this strategy does not work, if she's not able to take out Zuffle, I'm sure Zuffle will win, because unless if she kills a bunch of the banks. I mean, if she can destroy those banks up there, then she can still have a chance of, even if the attack fails. But if she isn't able to take out banks, she'll have a very hard time coming back, because she has not been building banks this entire time. She's been purely aggressive. And honestly, the best thing to do is probably going to be just to build more. Honestly, the best thing would be to rush it, but at the same time, Zuffle is able to protect it pretty well. Now she's attacking the other side, but it looks like whatever that gnome attacked, those things did not get destroyed, so I'm guessing that's Ready as there. He is playing it very safe. He just knows that Hyrulian22 loves those garden gnomes, and looks like she is retreating and building banks. Now, it's a good thing to build banks, but he's already ahead on banks. So I don't know if this is going to work. The element of surprise is not there anymore, unless if he is very weak to splares on that side. So the best thing to do would probably build splares. He is building cannons, but he does have some cannons on his own and some piece of toast there. And oh, he's building splares. We got like, what, 7 splares there, and splares are definitely some of the best units in the game. Definitely top tier. See, the gnomes do one-hit kill splares, but it's usually more worth your buck if you can attack multiple splares at once with the gnomes. So that can be kind of hard. Gnomes are probably the best at breaking walls in people's defenses. Just use that rush. Like, you just can't get past the wall, so you just build a gnome and all of a sudden there's nothing there, and then you have to act quick, and then just take advantage of that hole in their defenses before they're able to build it up. That is the best thing gnomes are used for. They're a troop that aren't like, they're not like splares. You can build a bunch of them and they'll do good stuff. You have to make sure you use them strategically. Unless if the player does not know to build bread, and if they only build toast, then the player's gonna get wrecked by the He's building gas cannons, but he just got destroyed by that splayer. And if he just built splayer in the top left, like a bunch of them, just like 7 of them, she would do really good. However, Zuffle does have a lot of money. Does have a lot of money. She's really like building those flies, but the flies die really fast. Now he's building a bunch of gas cannons. So that's going to make it harder for gnomes to come in, because if you remember, the gas that comes off the gas cannons, it instantly destroys gnomes without having them blow up. So they're very good anti-gnome tools. Also, the gas instantly destroys cannons and outranges them. They do shoot a little slower and they have less health, but they're very powerful. They're also good at fighting off splares. They don't insta-kill splares, but one bullet can hurt like a group of splares bundled up together. And oh, just got hit by that splares, ran into it. That is one thing that happened in this game, and a lot of players complained about it. The characters were very slidey, like you're on ice the whole time. That is a bug I fixed. If you download the Battle for Peanut Butter and Jelly now, the characters aren't as slidey. They still might be a little, as you see there, the gnome didn't get hit by the gas but didn't blow up. But yeah, in the update I made, that the captains aren't as slidey anymore. So if you guys play it, feel free to give me feedback and let me know if you still think they're too slidey or if the player's movement's weird. But now, I don't know if you noticed earlier, but when the gas touches the bread, it instantly disappears. So bread cannot be hurt by gas cannons. So that is a perfect example of how, and I really wanted that in this game. I wanted the weakest, cheapest unit to counter the strongest ones. The bread counters, the gnomes, and the gas cannons. And that did a lot of damage on Zuffle right there. But that is like the purpose of building bread. It's like, if you see certain things, build bread to counteract those things. But bread does instantly die from splares, and splares are very popular. Like, bread is useless against splares. So you gotta like know when to build things, and that's what I wanted to. I just didn't want to like, oh, just build a bunch of bread and like, oh, you're safe. Like, I want certain counters to everything, and that way the players would have to like play a rock paper scissors match in real time. And that is actually what I want to do. Is the next update is release a troop that counteracts the splares but is countered by the flies. That way we have 3 basic troops that play rock paper scissors. One beats the fly, one loses to the fly, and one beats the splayer, one loses to the splayer. You know, the rock paper scissors aspect. Anyway, so with this game, it looks like Hyrulian22's offensive efforts have failed. She's no longer, I mean, she is pressing him with gnomes every so often to remind him that she's there, but if you look at the bottom of the screen, the splayer is just instant killing those bread, and she just does not have. Zuffle has too great of defenses now for Hyrulian22 to be there. It's really hard to say what's going to happen, but I really do think this is probably going to go to Zuffle again, because when you commit so hard to a rush at the beginning, it's very hard to come back. However, Hyrulian22 does a very good job rushing at the beginning. If she can get if she wins, it's great. But if you make it the losers bracket, if she can get the splares to be built right after she builds the gnomes, I think she could actually wreck a lot of players. But as of now, she's going to have to make a big comeback to come back from Zuffle. It's not over yet, and anything could happen, but Zuffle is a huge lead. If you look at the money that each person has, he's getting money so fast. He has almost $40,000, like $35,000, and he's just making money so fast. And she can barely afford a bank every couple seconds. Like, he can build banks faster than he can spend them. Look, like, he's not able to spend the money fast enough in banks. So really, I think this is going to Zuffle, guys, which Hyrulian22, she was very brave, and she almost made it, but I don't think it was enough. If she would have got the splares earlier, like a bunch of splares, instead of building flies, I think she could have done it. all those splares are there, and there's nothing she can do about it. And even if she's able to kill off these splares, there are still more splares coming because he has portals. That is the power of portals, is that if you have more money than a person, all you have to do is build portals, and then your player will have to like rush build splares without building portals, and that costs money. But see, you're not spending any money. The portals are just constantly building a rush of splares for you, and the portals are so powerful, and the hives can be powerful too if you want to apply it. And it looks like Team Peanut Butter wins. Zuffle will move on, and he will be facing JB in the next match. This is certainly a match to be remembered. Here are the results. As you see, Zuffle built a lot of banks. Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Share with a friend. Make sure to download the Battle for Peanut Butter and Jelly. And remember, video games can be for good. Till next time.